Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 2 vs 2 on Vitebsk, and in this one I'm going to be playing with the 28th Jager Division. On my team today I have Herr Robert, who is going to be using Karuk 559. On the opposing side we have Chicken and Harold Alexander, who are going to be using the 26th Guards and the 184th Rifles. And it's an interesting matchup because Chicken is playing a tier A and I'm playing a tier B, and then Harold Alexander and Herr Robert are both playing tier C divisions. Now the tier doesn't actually represent the strength of a division as a whole, it represents their offensive capability. So in Conquest that is definitely a factor, but something like Karuk 559 will definitely be harder to dislodge in a breakthrough game, for example, and that's the intention of the tier system. It's their offensive rating. Just bear that in mind. Anyway, we are going to be playing the 28th Jager, and this division is really interesting. It reminds me a lot of the 3rd Fallschirmjäger from Steel Division Normandy 44, in that it relies a lot on infantry and aircraft, whilst it doesn't have much in between. Although saying that, the 28th Jager I think can be used as either a aircraft focused early game division or an artillery focused late game division, because there is quite a lot of options in both of those areas, but aircraft especially are much more effective towards the beginning of the game, because at the later phases of the game that's generally when you see the AA built up. So if you're focusing on an air force based battle group, you will be counted in the late game, so you'll want to focus on the early game. And that's, I think, the two ways that we're going to see the 28th Jager played as Steel Division 2 continues to be. But either way, let's have a look at the units that we have going down. I've set it to my point of view. We've got a couple of Stug 3s at the front here. They're going to be pushing to the right hand side and supporting some infantry for the take of this flag on the hill. We have a bunch of defensive forces, the Marder 2, the Pak 38, and a few other infantry defending this flag and also trying to put some pressure onto this hill. Then on this left side we've got Sturmjäger, Jager, the Jager Pioneer Führer with a couple of mortars and also a couple of AT guns to maybe put some pressure up in the middle. Now Herr Robert decided to support me on my side with some aircraft early on. He's brought in the Ju-87D5 Recon, he's got a Ju-87 with bombs, and he's got a Ju-87 with 20mm cannons on the wings. Furthermore, he's also brought in an Me-109 G6 to provide fighter power to his initial air force and protect these Ju-87s, which are naturally quite vulnerable. Where this Ju-87 is going to be going for the good old Stuka dive, dropping those bombs. And you can hear that it does have the sound of the Stuka, which is absolutely awesome. Didn't drop its payload this time around, but cool to see it do its pass. Now we're seeing a Yak 9 come in to try and prevent these Ju-87s from being effective, but Herr Robert with his Me-109 G6s in the sky doing plenty of damage there and shooting it down almost immediately. Now the Ju-87 coming in again for another pass. This time will it drop its payload? Yes, it will. Straight onto the KV-1S, and that KV is going to be falling back for the time being. Su-85 here has led the charge so far, but a KV-85 is on the way, and that is going to definitely provide some problems for my Stug 3s. So I was a little bit worried about how I'm going to deal with that, so I had to invest into a HS-129. This thing has 37mm AP shells with 140mm of penetration, so just enough to penetrate the KV-85 at close range, but we're going to be going for the side shot here. You can see that I've targeted both the Su-85 and the KV-85. Do manage to find the gun jam onto the Su-85, which definitely makes my job a little bit easier as far as the Stug 3s are concerned. IL-2s are brought in to harass Herr Robert's Air Force, but the ME-109s can be taking care of that nice and easy. Chicken has now decided to bring in a bunch of these Maxims in order to counter our aircraft. Ju-87 once again bombing these tanks, and now I'm going to be trying to find the kill with the Stug 3s. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, my Pak-38 failing to kill an M2A1 is definitely a problem, and now the OT-34 here is able to get a shot in onto the Pak-38. The Pak-38 failing to be effective there at all. Going to be seeing the HS-129 come in once again. This is a second HS-129 that I've purchased in order to get the advantage on the right side early on. And so far it hasn't really paid off. But we did manage to kill off one of the KVs. The command KV did get taken out, but not the best target. The KV-85 would have been better. This HS-129 actually loses its target as they come in for a strafing run onto their AA. Yak-9 gonna find a kill onto the ME-410 bomber of Herr Robert, which is unfortunate for him. He didn't have his fighters in quite the right position to take care of that. Yak-9 definitely being advantageous coming out of the spawn there and picking off the ME-410. Well, meanwhile in the centre things aren't going well. Harold Alexander and Chicken are putting pressure on here. My Jaeger Pioneer, they are actually doing a pretty good job of holding. The very loud MG42 there firing away alongside the G43s and the MP40. They do have a HE grenade, but they have used it, and you can see they have managed to defeat both the Guardia and the Strauki there so far. But holding that position with those Jaeger Pioneers is quite nice. Going to be seeing the HS-129 B2R2 now coming in. This has 30mm armaments. Going to be strafing that Strelky squad, stopping it from killing the Pak-36. But the IL-2's going to be getting onto its tail. And this does actually have pretty decent armaments. Yak-9 going to be taking the shots as well. Yak-9 does go down, but so does the ME-410, and that looked very, very awesome. Focke-Wulf 190 now coming in for the shots onto the IL-2. The IL-2 quite tanky as an aircraft, so the Focke-Wulf with its 2 machine guns is the recon variant, only has the 2 MGs in the nose. Gonna be taking a little while to shoot down an IL-2. You can see there that Focke-Wulf actually has to overshoot. And, well, now bringing in another HS-129 for a run onto the M3S, which is an M3 Lee. So, Lend-Lease M3, forced to fall back, didn't get killed by the 37mm AP, which was unfortunate, especially considering we did hit it. And meanwhile on the right side, I have managed to clean up the KV-85, which is really good. Gives a lot of freedom to my Stug 3. So I'm using those now to push up with the Jaeger. A little bit extra infantry would definitely go a long way on the right hand side, but due to our investment into the air engagement so far, it's been difficult for me to invest into the ground as well. Looking for the shots here onto the IL-2 to prevent the HS-129 from being shot down. Just trying to save Herr Robert's aircraft here, if I can. That IL-2 goes down to the Ju-87. And meanwhile we're trying to get rid of this IL-2, but I can't quite get onto it with my own recon aircraft to help shoot it down. But unfortunately just a little bit too late. And that ME-410 actually crashes into the Flak 38 here, or near enough, and it forces it to fall back. Both of those aircraft actually landed very close. So now I've brought up a Stug 3 here to assist the Jaegers in moving forwards. And I'm also now bringing up some Jaeger Pioneers as well to help out with that push against enemy infantry, because things like the Tanko Desaniki and the Guardia will lose to the Jaeger Pioneer at close range. Meanwhile on the right side, the Stug 3 still doing well. You can hear that MG firing away, and those squads have been taken care of. So this is where infantry would have been really handy, because if I'd managed to basically occupy most of these areas or these locations, then I would have been in a really good position. Now what I did realise after this game is that I should have brought in the 28th Jager with Maverick as opposed to balanced deployment type, because then I could have accentuated my use of aircraft and infantry in the early game. Whereas in the late game, like in Phase C, you barely have like any decent units that can match up to your opponents. So you want to get them all out earlier on. And we did briefly see there the HS-129 take out the M3. So that's good for us in the center. And we're not losing massively at the moment. Only 1 point actually controlled by the enemy, which is this one on the hill that we would otherwise control. So not too bad. Robert doing a fine job of holding back Harold Alexander on the left-hand side. This is 2 Tier C divisions going up against each other though, so it is going to be quite close. Meanwhile, however, my Stug is going to go down. We're going to see the KV-85s pushing up once again, and although we did manage to track break one of the KV-85s, the other one still good to press on. And as quickly as I say we're okay, we are no longer okay, as we do lose this point on the hill, as my Stug 3 also dies on this side, or at least gets forced back for the time being, because I couldn't contest the enemy vehicles at close range. We just put it at the neutral perspective. There is the T-34 there, and there was also the M3 lead previously. There's also these Gavardia that cause criticals in the side armor of the Stug 3, so it's very difficult for me to push up right now. And Chicken he's trying to stop any infantry with the amount of flamethrowers that he has here. So yeah, very difficult for me to do anything right now until I get some serious support. That's like 4 units against, you know, a lot of units on that hill. I've also got big problems on the right hand side, as my Jaeger Pioneer Führer have been forced back. They got discovered to be more or less the only unit defending this right side against the KV-85s. So I'm going to have to get some more reinforcements in here in order to sort that out. I do now have in Phase B HS-129B3s. These have 75mm AP shells and are exactly the same aircraft that we've seen with the 3rd Fallschirmjäger in Steel Division Normandy 44. So perfect for taking out heavy armoured targets with their 175mm of penetration, which is really, really nice. Also the damage is 5, which means they are pretty likely to kill in at least 1 or 2 shots if they get on target, which is perfect. So just got to make sure it hits the right targets, potentially those KV-85s, and then I can break the back of Chicken as we continue the engagements. So I brought up a couple of Marder 2s here. These are good since they have 190mm of penetration versus the 125mm of frontal armor of a KV-85. You're going to see one shot there did manage to load a kill. The KV-85, a second shot most likely would have got the kill. Unfortunately, I was unable to do so, and having missed that strike, it is forced to fall back due to the amount of AA that Chicken now has on the hill, or at least has managed to move forwards. These 3 AA pieces getting very far up to defend the KV-85, so making it difficult for myself to find those kills. There's also an M15 coming up back there, you can see from Chicken. The good old Lend-Lease vehicles helping out a ton on the Russian side. We're going to see my IG-18 engaging the Gavardia. Unfortunately, the IG-18 is still pretty lackluster. You can see the limited amount of suppression that it gives to a Gavardia, whilst the Gavardia with its machine guns managing to actually pin down the IG-18 in return. I do unfortunately lose my aircraft there, the ME-109, or ME-410, sorry, to the Yak-9s, which really, really sucked. My Focke-Wulf 190 fails to get onto the back of the Yak-9 and forced to fall that back as well under fire from Chicken AA. So a bit of a mixed micromanagement there does definitely cost me. I'm going to be bringing in my own flak filling on the truck in order to prevent those fighters from sticking about, but just a little bit too late. Anyway, the battle continues here, and although we did manage to capture back the flag on the hill, we're still at a disadvantage with 15 to 9. Harold did unfortunately lose his flag on this hill. We've still lost this flag, and the flags on the right side have gone as well. So that's the 3 flag advantage that the opposing side has on us currently. And well, I have basically nothing defending the right side against the KV-85 push, since my HS-129s were ineffective at holding them back. Now we're in phase B for 6 more minutes, and this is where I realized the type of the deployment type would have definitely helped, like getting a Maverick deployment type as opposed to a balanced deployment type, because I could have definitely forced out more tanks at this point. I had a lot of Stugs on the division, and also in the early game I could have maybe had more aircraft. Or saying that, not necessarily more aircraft, since we did manage to have more or less all of the aircraft that I had on my division out in the sky, but I would say the infantry as well, which would have maybe helped me hold the hill on the right hand side at this point. So at the back here we do see the Multier Vielfachwerfer, and this is very similar to a Panzerwerfer, except it uses the Vielfachwerfer rocket system. Pretty cool though. It does provide plenty of suppression to units it lands on top of. The AA pieces there being forced back, however the IS-1 just chilling on the side of the hill here, not really caring. And this IS-1's a big problem. It's the biggest tank that Chicken Do has access to, with 170 frontal armor. Not much that's going to kill that, except from potentially a Panzerstrak. And you can see that I'm using the Panzer Jager squads here now to try and sneak up and get into ambushing positions, so that if Chicken Do decides to overextend, I can then kill those tanks at close range with the Panzerstreks and push back. That was the plan at this point, since we had lost so much ground on the right hand side. Robert really trying to help me out here with his air force. Loads of Ju-87s, a couple of Yak-9s trying to come in to intercept them, but my Flak-Villing doing a fantastic job since I purchased it, and managing to force those back. Unfortunately, one Ju-87 did go down, but the Flak-Villing is going to allow my Focke-Wulf 190 to kill off one of the Yak-9s in response, so not too bad. The other Yak-9 also goes down to the remainder of the Flak-Villing fire, so double kill. Definitely works out. Sturmvniki there, going to be wrecked by the Flak-Villing. This Flak-Villing definitely MVP right now. The Jaeger Pioneer Führer now engaging from range. I should have definitely tried to keep them hidden, but at this point I'm just trying to keep the Panzerjäger away from the infantry approaching and allow my Jaeger Pioneer to make that engagement instead. So Panzerjäger hiding, trying to get into an ambushing position. You can see that the tank here is coming down off the hill, which is ideal. The Panzerjägers were caught up to by the Gvardia. It's actually not too bad for us. The Panzerjägers do have 6 MP40s, so they do fight well at close range. But the KV-85 going to be getting involved. This KV-85, I am just waiting for this Panzerschreck to hit the mark. And would you look at that, we managed to do so. HS-129B3s were in the air waiting to get that kill as well. Now they're going to have to look for the kill onto the IS-1, but the AA has returned after previously being pushed back by the Vielfachwerfer, and we are not going to get that run in this time around. I have now brought up some Jaeger Scharfschütze in order to snipe these guys, but I can't allow them to snipe in view of the tanks or they'll just get wrecked. So you can see me moving them to one side. I love the model of the Kar 98 actually with these Jaeger squads. They do look very cool, and I love the uniform of the Jaegers. Possibly the best uniform for the Germans that we've seen. There we go, another KV-85 going down. Which I believe this one was to the Panzerschreck. The other one was actually taken out by the aircraft. I think that's what happened. Either way, Jaeger Sharpshooter now able to engage the enemy forces, and I'm looking for the snipe onto the commander unit so the Sturmovniki can be surrendered. There is the Strafniki on the right hand side though, and these are 20-man squads. And they're going to manage to kill off my sniper. Very, very cool. And the Vitebsk really trying to threaten the IS-1, I think, but not doing a fine job of that just yet. We do manage to get the better of the Sturmovniki until the mortars come in, so I was satisfied with that engagement. But the Strafniki now going to look for the hit onto my Panzerjäger and get that out of there. My Sturmjägers managed to find a sniper squad and clean that, so not too bad. One of my Focke-Wulfs does get shot down by enemy AA in the meantime. Now we're still controlling the point on the hill here. Got some Sturmjäger that have come up to help capture that as well. Stug 3 just holding the line for the time being. It's not too bad. But we do need to capture back these flags, especially the flag on this right hand side here that I should be controlling right now, but my lack of infantry is really harming my effectiveness. And again, it comes down mainly to the way that I chose my income, because with Maverick I'd have 180 points per minute, and I think that would have been much better at this point in the game in order to maintain control of my current position. Because currently we are allowing Chicken Do to be aggressive elsewhere. You can see the Gvardia moving in here with the sniper squad, and I just don't really have anything defending. I'm going to be bringing in a few Jaeger Sharpshooter, but with the Strafniki all the way this far up, I didn't notice, and therefore all of my sniper squads end up just getting wrecked. Sturmjäger, however, at this range, doing a lot of damage to the Sturmovniki and also these Saperi, so that's a good engagement for me. Any squads with MP40s can be extremely effective at this sort of medium range, and that's what I was taking advantage of there. And we do see that the IS-1 finally goes down. I didn't see exactly what to, but either way, it's now gone. Loads of rocket artillery and so on. The KV-1E going to be taking shots from the hill now onto enemy forces, the Shubo squads on the right hand side, which have discovered the Strafniki, which were capturing this point, but they've now been surrounded, so hopefully this will come back in our favour. Got a Stug 3 that is engaging this KV-1E up on the hill. Does have the penetration to get through the front armour, so that's good for me. And now I've got a couple of HS-129s coming across as well, which may also be able to do the damage. They were originally going to go for these couple tanks that have pushed up and taken this flag, but I guess I'll take the KV-85 on the right hand side instead. So that was the plan here. The HS-129B2 going for the shots. Does manage to get the slight damage, but not the kill, which was sad. Either way, HS-129B3 now coming in for the shots onto the KV-1Es. Managed to get the engine damage, but not the kill. And that seemed to be a trait of these HS-129s. They do cause a lot of criticals before they get kills, and I think that's mainly due to the damage. The Focke-Wulf 190A4 does find the kill onto a Yak, which is nice. Really good kill actually. And I'm finally bringing up some more infantry to support this Stug. However, with the M5 at close range, it does manage to get the better of my Stug, and now these Jaeger Pioneer really can't do anything against this tank because they don't have any AT. So I'm just going to have to chill, take it easy, and wait for some more AT. So potentially this HS-129. I was really hoping that this could kill both of the M5Ls for me. Do manage to take out one, don't manage to get the second just yet, so that's still a problem. Got to allow potentially Herr Robert's T-34 to get the kill, and he does, so now the Jaeger Pioneers are free to push up. Brought up a few Stugs, and they're going to help take out the tanks on this main road. Chicken do here really starting to overextend, which does allow us to bite back just a little bit. And now we're back to 14-10. Snipers moving out of the trees there, also going to get taken out. So my Jaeger Pioneer Fiora still managing to hold a little bit of a position here. But with 2 minutes left on the clock, I'm really just pushing my Stugs onto this objective to try and take it back. That is the plan. Also, Herr Roberts brought up a couple of these small tanks. Look at these bad boys, little machine gun tanks, to help as well. Because if we do manage to bring it back to 12-12, we can prevent the minor defeat. But it's got to be close. And unfortunately, like in the center, the Jaeger Pioneers, they bump into the Valentine. And that's going to prevent this from being captured back for the time being. So I'm going to try and strafe that with the Focke-Wulf 190 A8s. Do manage to get the surrender, capture back the point. So we're back to 13-11. We'd need one more point now in order to balance out the game. But the only point that is contestable at this point is probably the right-hand side. And I don't have any units close enough. So I'm going to go for a suicide run with the Flakverling, supported by Herr Robert's VK-18s. But yeah, we're just not in a good position anymore. We would have been in a good position if we'd managed to take back another point. I think actually we would have had a good chance of coming back in the game, because Chicken Do invested into his KV-85s in Phase A, which means he has a very limited amount of them compared to the amount of Stug 3s that I have. But their strategies worked. They have managed to take the initiative in Phase B, which is how Chicken Do's division was created. He's got a Maverick division, so yeah, that's worked out for him for sure. His Phase B pushing power just about worked out, and we weren't able to capture back the point in time, which means in 5 seconds, unfortunately, we're going to lose the game. So it was actually pretty close, I think. Like at this point on the map, it would have been relatively equal, or if not completely in our favor, in terms of the potential for a comeback. But yeah, at the end, it is a minor defeat. And great job by Chicken Do and Harold Alexander to win this one. Myself and Herr Robert did finish with positive kill deaths, which does definitely make me think that we did have the advantage in the late game, but just didn't hold the points. So they managed to get away with it, I think, in this one. In terms of kills, Flakverling did really, really well for me. This truck was an absolute beast. It shot down both the Yak-9s and killed off the Sturmovniki and the Gvardia, which definitely saved me against a couple of those infantry squads, as well as those planes that could have shot down some more of Herr Robert's stuff. HS129B3s weren't as effective as I would have liked, and neither was the HS129B2. They did whiff quite a lot of their strikes, but my early game was really, really bad. It really didn't go very well for me, and I think the fact that I invested so much into my aircraft definitely left me light on the ground, which with combined my income kind of stunted my ability to push early on, or at least contest the ground early on. So I ended up falling back too much and losing too much ground, which then allowed them to win in a timely fashion. If I'd managed to hold maybe a bit longer, then we might have had more time to react in the late game, and then we would have had the advantage moving on. Now the Stug 3s, they do very well. I think the Stug 3s are fantastic. They tend to always pay themselves off. They're only 70 points apiece, and here they killed like 3 M5s, that's 35 points apiece, so 2 of those pays itself off, and then the extra one is just the sort of cherry on top. Like killing an ISU there with the Stug 3, that pays itself off already like twice over. SU-85 got killed by a PaK 38. That's going to be like 35 points, killing 85 points. So we got a lot of value out of our units in general, but just a really bad early game didn't help our cause at all. So unfortunately, I don't think I quite built the division right for this one. but I have changed it since. So there we go. That's the whole idea of playing games like this and learning from your mistakes and making changes to your battle groups because of it. I think that's like a big staple part of Steel Division, and that's why I love it so much. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this game. I tried to zoom in as much as I can. I know you guys like that, and that's why I'm bringing you guys these as replays. I will also bring you guys some live gameplay when I can, but for now that's it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.